Hi, my name's Chris O'Brien. I'm a Senior Vice President here at MyHealthTeams. Thank you for inviting us to do a quick demo. I'd like to show you MyVitiligoTeam, our social network for people with vitiligo. Just kind of go over who MyHealthTeams is, and then we're going to look at some of the data that we've learned, from the social networks. And so just to get started here, MyHealthTeams was founded on a basic belief that if you're diagnosed with a chronic health condition, it should be super easy to find somebody just like you who can best support you. And so we created these disease-specific social networks that are actually kind of like the Facebook meets Match.com of diseases. And so when you first log in, you are prompted to tell your story, to answer some questions, and share some information about you so you can be matched up with somebody just like you on the platform. And so these 40 social networks now have over 2.5 million members, and we operate in 13 English-speaking countries. So MyVitiligoTeam, we launched this about a year ago, and we actually have seen pretty good growth over that time. You can see that we have about 4,800 members as of, I believe it was yesterday. And so we anticipate having, over 5,000 members by the end of the year, which is really exciting. And so the way MyVitiligoTeam works is when you first log in, you see that you're in an activity feed, very similar to Facebook or LinkedIn. Somebody can share their story, they can post, they can say they're having a good day, bad day. No one's ever judging them for having a bad day here. And so, we try to make it encouraging. This is where people can interact with those posts. So you can like, you can hug, you can comment on the posts. And so that's the broader social network. But if you want to find somebody just like you can actually go into a place we call Meet Others. And this is kind of that Match.com functionality. So if I'm somebody with vitiligo and maybe I have generalized vitiligo and I'm suffering from depression or, experiencing anxiety, maybe I've tried topical corticosteroids, and maybe I want to meet somebody just like me. That's a way to drill down into the larger audience and really kind of hone in on those folks that are dealing with vitiligo in the same way I am. So I can say hi to that person, I can add them to my team. And so the teams are actually smaller groups within the larger MyVitiligo team. And so, you can ask questions, you can search by questions that have already been asked. That's another section in our social network. But we also provide great content for our members. And so you can see on the left-hand side here, we have an archive of all the articles that we've ever produced in MyVitiligoTeam. And we actually promote a lot of these things. And we promote live doctor panel Q&A. You can see that we've got a few key opinion leaders involved with creating some content in MyVitiligoTeam. So we're excited about that. We're trying to educate folks on their types of vitiligo, related conditions with vitiligo. And so these are great resources for people who are just kind of trying to do their daily life, with this new normal of vitiligo in the case of someone newly diagnosed. So we like to get physicians involved with a lot of our content. In fact, their profiles are on MyVitiligoTeam, and they actually medically validate a lot of our content. So any way that we can utilize our key opinion leaders and physicians that want to get involved, we're very happy to have those discussions. In fact, we've produced videos with Q&A sessions like we talked about, but on topics that are very specific as well. And finally, we're pretty involved with the advocacy groups like the Global Vitiligo Foundation. In fact, we hosted their World Vitiligo Day event. This was due to COVID, but it just kind of worked out. We launched MyVitiligoTeam. We live streamed the event. It was 4 hours long. We got a lot of great feedback. In fact, I think people want to see more virtual events going forward because more people can attend those. And so we're looking forward to more partnerships like this in MyVitiligoTeam going forward. So just a little bit about some of the folks that joined MyVitiligoTeam. You can see that 43% have indicated that they have generalized vitiligo, only 10% segmental. But you can see about 37% of the people who answered this question, because it's not a required field, were unsure. They weren't sure what type of vitiligo they had. And so part of what we like to do in these social networks is address those education gaps with some content. And so in this case, we built out a center, which includes an article about what is my vitiligo type. And so this is a way they can read through the article and really understand, okay, I have segmental or generalized vitiligo, for instance. One of the things that we learn over all of our social networks is that, the condition on the surface is really the tip of the iceberg. And so the loss of skin color in this condition is what people see. What people don't see is a lot of the emotional impacts that vitiligo has, like depression, embarrassment, and anxiety. And then some of the other physical things that people really don't understand, which is, they're dealing with itching, especially in their patches. They easily sunburn, and they're actually, many of them experience hearing loss as a result of this autoimmune disease. And most people see this, diagnosis that, brings them down emotionally. And, it takes a little while before they can actually get back to what we like to call a new normal. This is, the acceptance of the condition and navigating this. And so the social network really helps people get to that point. We can see a lot of comments about the emotional toll of vitiligo here, about people, experiencing anxiety and depression when they're first diagnosed, and then hearing those words, "There is no cure," which really kind of, is hard to hear for many people. And so what we like to see is, that in the case of, others in the social network, we see that, many of them have gotten to that new normal. They're feeling good about who they are. They're finally accepting their condition. And a lot of that has to do with, the positive affirmation that they see with each other on the social network and in other places. We have examples of, this person from Brazil, a grandfather who, builds these or makes these dolls that have vitiligo to help kids with their self-esteem, like a lot of positive stories. We've got models that are, front and center for this condition. And, they're beautiful, right? And so these are, positive, self-affirming, aspects of the social network and what the social network can do, as well as, getting people back to that new normal. And a lot of people are really, over the moon about this particular Barbie doll who's experiencing vitiligo. So, it's just another example of how people react to these things. Interestingly enough, there's some discussion around people who think this is contagious. And so, that's unfortunate in many cases. And so, we're learning that, this is what people are dealing with on a regular basis, that they're having to, address this, or maybe, people just don't even say anything about it. And so that could be even worse. This is what we're talking about with the itching and, a symptom of vitiligo that tends to be, somewhat overlooked, but, definitely a hot topic in the social network. And just like any autoimmune disease, we're learning that, stress is a big exacerbator of these symptoms. And so, especially the stress of COVID right now, we're seeing a lot of comments about that. And then direct sunlight makes it itch. So sun exposure is an issue that they deal with as well. So a lot that we can learn in these social networks. But you know what, for people who are dealing with vitiligo, a lot of the members are providing some really helpful tips as well. And so these are what we call life hacks. So we look at these life hacks and try to uncover them in the way of content, so we can create some content around these life hacks. But the life hacks are really, how do I get to, as close to that new normal as possible, or the old normal with my new normal, right? And so, it could be many things. In this case, using sunscreen or lotion for itching. So that's kind of the impact that we have for our members. We're excited about bringing MyVitiligoTeam to patients and caregivers. We partner with our physicians by way of content. And so, we'd prefer that you're not members of this social network, but that you can, scale some of your knowledge with us in the way of videos, in the way of, one-on-one interviews, or even live Q&A panels that we do. So we'd be excited for, partnership opportunities with you guys. But if you're somebody with vitiligo or someone caring for vitiligo, come to share your experiences, because I'm sure somebody else out there is having the same experience as you. So thanks for this opportunity. Again, my name's Chris O'Brien. If you have any questions concerning what I went over today, please feel free to email me at chris@myhealthteams.com. Thanks a bunch.